So, you're tired of speed cubing and you want to try method development. You want to invent your own cool Rubik's Cube methods that have never been seen before. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to invent your own methods. Yo, how's it going guys? Blobinati Central right here. Only a small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking my cubing videos, then feel free to subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers, and it would mean a lot to me. But without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. So before you can go on and just start inventing new methods like crazy, you first have to actually learn some methods. So assuming you already only know one method, probably like CFOP or maybe even a beginner's method, what do you do next? Well, there's something called the Big Three, and what the Big Three is the top three methods that most cubers use. So in order of popularity, they are CFOP, Ru, and ZZ. Those are the big three methods, and if you learned all of those three methods, that is a great place to start. And not just getting to know them, but getting to really know the intricacies of each of those methods. So for me, for example, my CFOP, Ru, and ZZ times, my averages with those three methods are within 5 seconds of each other. With Ru, I average 14, with CFOP, I average like 16, and with ZZ, I usually average like 18. Because learning those three methods teaches you things that you never knew before about cubing. For example, learning the ZZ method introduces you to a concept called edge orientation, or EO for short. Also, learning Ru will get you really comfortable with block building, which is a major part of a lot of different methods nowadays. And there is some really good tutorials out there for these methods. There's a lot of good tutorials on YouTube. Kian Mansour makes good tutorials for Ru. Japer makes great tutorials for CFOP. Okay, this is really important. So there is a website called speedsolving.com, and on speedsolving.com there's hundreds of pages of different methods, different puzzles, different subsets, different algorithms. It's amazing. There's so much on there, so much information. Go to that website and learn all the methods. I'm serious, learn all the methods. So after you get pretty comfortable with the big three, you're going to want to start learning some little variants you can do. So for CFOP, you can like orient the edges while inserting your F2L pair, or you can solve the last layer differently by doing OLLCP. And for Ru, some of the best variants are the Pinkie Pie variant, where you put ULUR on the bottom layer and then again use OLLCP to like skip having to orient the edges in Ru, so it's pretty nice. And for the ZZ method, there's actually probably like 50 different variants. It's crazy. Like, what is ZZCT? What is ZZC? What is ZZC++? There's ZZA, ZZB, ZZD. What I mean by learn, you don't have to memorize all the algorithms. You can often learn to look just to get a really good understanding of the method so that you know like how to do it. You don't need to learn hundreds of algorithms to be a method developer. So after you've begun your journey on learning a bunch of different variants and types of the big three methods, you're going to want to get familiar with all of the abbreviations, because there's a ton of abbreviations in cubing. It's kind of overwhelming if you look at it. So sometimes you'll see abbreviations that's like L and then a number and then E. So what that means is last something edges, or the same thing works for corners, so last something corners. So in the Ru method, it's L6E, which means the last 6 edges. So it solves these 4 and these 2 edges, which is 6 edges, LSE or L6E. Of course, some methods end in L5E, so we have this solved one here and this unsolved one in the front, and this would be L5E. The same thing works for corners. This would be L4C, so last 4 corners. And finally, you're going to want to learn cube theory. So cube theory isn't really a great name. Cube theory basically refers to a bunch of different little things like scary big words like commutators, conjugates, domino reduction, Thistlethwaite reduction, corner permutation. Whoa, crazy names. So a good way to start learning corner permutation is to learn the Wairuru or Briggs method for one-handed. So what it does is during inspection, it teaches you a way to recognize to permute the corners at the beginning of the solve, which leads to, at the end of the solve, way less algorithms need to be learned. So instead of needing to learn all of ZBLL, reduces it to like 80 algorithms, And the term domino reduction refers to putting a cube into a state that's similar to a domino cube. So a domino cube, it's not really a cube, it's like a rectangle, but whatever. A domino cube is this 3x3x2 puzzle, so you can actually reduce a 3x3 into a domino cube by solving the middle layer, orienting the edges, and orienting the corners. Okay, welcome to part 2 of the video. So we're actually gonna get into method development now. Yay! So why do I have this piece of paper? Well, I'm gonna write down some things. Obviously, that was dumb. Why did I even say that? So I will be actually developing a example method along with the video just to show you guys my usual process for inventing a method. So the first step is to identify your goals. What I mean by identifying your goals is you want to know if you want a speed method, a one-handed method, a method designed for feet maybe, I don't know. Do you want a method to be rotationless? Do you want it to have amazing ergonomics? Is it designed to have a low algorithm count? Is it gonna be a variant of an already existing method? So you want to identify your goals, and for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna say I want a low algorithm one. Sure, let's go with that. So goals is low algorithm count, and we'll also do rotationless just for fun because rotationless methods are pretty poggers. So now you want to know the difference between top-down and bottom-up methods. So what is the difference between a top-down and bottom-up method? Well, I'm gonna tell you in a minute. Basically, I have to give credit because this whole idea was invented by a forum user called ShadowSlice. In his post, he basically explains that there are two different categories of methods, top-down and bottom-up. Each method has like a core stage or like a main idea of the method, the like best step of the method, if you will. So a top-down method is where the best step is near the end. Top-down methods have the best step at the end, whereas bottom-up methods usually have the best step near the beginning. So for top-down methods, the best step is at the end, meaning all the steps at the beginning are designed to be the most efficient and fastest way to get to that best step. So an example of a top-down method would be the Wairuru or Briggs method for one-handed solving. So its best step is 2GLL, which is, it's basically the subset of ZBLL that can only be solved with R and U moves. So it ends the solve with 2GLL, so everything before that, including the block building, the corner permutation and inspection, and the edge orientation, are designed to get to this 2GLL step as efficiently as possible. I did it wrong. Amazing. So another example would be the Ru methods. So basically the core stage of Ru is probably LSE, whereas bottom-up methods have the best step near the beginning. So for CFOP, that appears to be the first two layers is like the core step or like the main idea. So because bottom-up methods have the best step near the beginning of a solve, they often have many different variants or many different ways to finish the solve. For example, ZZ method has tons of variants. ZZA, ZZB, ZZC, ZZD, ZZEF, ZZCT. So some of your goals earlier may basically decide what type of method that you want. So in our case, a low algorithm count would mean a top-down method because we want the best step or the step with low algorithms to be at the beginning of the solve. So now you have to combine all this information into one and decide on a first step for your method. If you're trying to get somewhere as efficiently as possible, block building is always a good way to go. So now I need to find some target low algorithm count step that I want to get to. So how about let's choose last 5 edges like this. So I don't know this case. There's only about 16 algorithms I think in last 6 edges, so it's pretty low algorithm count. I only know a few of them. So now we need to figure out how can I get there. In order to get there, I'll need to somehow solve the first 2 layers minus the down front edge, and also completely solve the corners and orient the edges. So to prevent me from having to learn anything like COLL, which is 42 algorithms, in order to solve the corners, I can use the corner permutation technique from the Wairuru/Briggs method during inspection to reduce the number of algorithms I need to learn. So maybe the steps could be the corner permutation in inspection, and then doing block building to solve a 2x2x3 in the back of the cube would work. And then after that, I just need to orient the edges and insert the pairs and orient the corners. So that shouldn't be too much. So maybe corner permutation, 2x2x3, and then EO plus the pairs, and then all I have to do is orient corners. I wrote that backwards, I'm so smart. Okay, I've solved the corner permutation from inspection. It still looks pretty scrambled, but trust me, the corner permutation is done. Let's try and solve a 2x2x3 rectangle in the back here. So maybe I'll try starting with like the edges or something. Maybe that could be fun. So that edge, and then maybe I need this edge. Okay, and then I need this pair, or this edge here, so I can attach that. Okay, I've built a 2x2, so now I just need a little plate here. Remember, we can't do L moves because that ruins the corner permutation that we did in inspection. So I'll have to do a wide U move to get that out, and then undo, and then something like that should work. Nice. Okay, so now the only way to solve this pair would be to do a wide U move and then insert it like that. And then the next pair is completely free, but we can't do F moves. Okay, so now I have a 2x2a3 solved in the back, the corner permutation done, and the edge orientation done, and basically F2L done. So now there's only 7 algorithms to solve the corners, and because the corner permutation is always done, we'll always get a corner permutation skip, obviously. So now we're just left with last 5 edges. Is this a good method? Probably not, but is it bad? Maybe not, who knows? One thing I forgot to mention is giving your method a name. So this is one of the most important things. It's not the most important thing, but it's pretty important because having a good name is fun, I don't know. So there's like 3 strategies you can do. The first one is just make it an acronym of the steps. So just like CFOP, so the C is for cross, F is for F2L, O is for OLL, P is for PLL, you get CFOP. The other thing is to just name it after your name. So just like Roux is named after Gilles Roux, the guy who invented Roux. So he just put his last name and then method, so Roux method. That's the same way with Petrus method. Petrus is named after Lars Petrus, so you can just take your last name and add method. Sure, it's your method. So the third strategy is to just make up random stuff that sounds cool. So I think that's how Shadow Slice Snow Columns name was invented. So there you go, that's basically the whole entire design process. It's very important to know what your goals are when you start. You don't want to just invent random stuff, that's bad. Also, you really want to avoid inventing things that already exist, which I know is pretty difficult. It's kind of hard to tell if someone already invented it, and it's pretty possible that what you've invented has already been existed. Bruh. So yeah, you really just have to be patient and discover everything for yourself. And finally, I want to talk about generating your own algorithms. So this is a program called Cube Explorer, and you can download this on Windows. If you want to run this on Mac, you'll need to install an emulator of Windows. So the program I use for that is called Play on Mac. It's pretty good. So this is Cube Explorer. You can click in the center of a face to pick up that color, and you can just paint the cube into whatever you want, and you can press clean to fix it. So let's say, for the sake of example, that I want to generate some new JTLE algorithms. So what is JTLE? Well, it's where you orient the U layer corners while solving the DR edge here. So let's just gray out the entire U layer, just so we have a nice clean board to work with. And if we hold Control and click, we will get these lines, which means that it will want to orient that piece. So this is basically an H case. Next, let's just say the yellow and red edge to be solved is here, just for example. But in JTLE, we want the edges to be oriented. So if we hold Control click, we can just orient all of these edges like this. So now all the edges are oriented, and we should be solving this piece. And when we click Add and Generate, it should, here we go, just make a bunch of algorithms. So this is really awesome. And then if you want to stop the search, this can all be solved 2gen, so with only R and U moves, so we can exclude F moves, exclude L, exclude D, exclude B, and no slice moves, and then we have to click X and then start again, and it should generate all 2gen algorithms. Whoa, look how fast it is, that's awesome. So you can stop the search at any time and then add solutions to the main window. and we should get a bunch of cool algorithms. So the best one seems to be this 9-move one, R U2, R prime U2, R prime U2, R prime U2, R. Hey, that's pretty cool. Now, unfortunately, this program can't do anything about piece separation, so if you've invented something like a belt method, and you want yellow pieces to be on the yellow layer and U pieces to be on the U layer, but you don't care about their permutation, you can't really do that. So it's kind of limited. There's other things, there's like pattern editor, symmetry editor, webcam. I don't really fully understand it, but so that's basically Cube Explorer. So that's pretty much it. Tell me in the comments what cool methods you guys have invented, and keep inventing, stay awesome, subscribe, please subscribe, yeah, okay, and I'll see you guys in the next video.